Welcome everyone to another episode of 10K Movies. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Tom and JD. Fellas, how we doing?
How we doing, guys? Good evening.
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Hell yeah. So we've loosely started this honestly like last year, but from that time and then we never really, I guess, put it out there dating back from then. But when we did kind of start this, talking about movies and everything, always talked about what we were also watching on TV. And one of those things that we followed pretty closely the first year was Winning Time, which is a show on HBO about the Lakers when Magic joined the team. And that just got announced that it's canceled after the second season. Tom, I know you were watching it a little bit. I think we all liked the first season of it, but I guess I don't know. What do you think of the second season of what you have watched on? Because I meant to get around to it, just never did. But what do you think? Is there a drop off at all, or what are your thoughts on that?
I like it, honestly. I mean, I feel like it's just the natural progression of the story. So I think it's like I thought it was really good. I think there's maybe one or two that have been slower, but I think that's kind of any show. Especially when you're kind of following a real story. Like there's just parts that are just not as exciting. But I mean, I liked it. I like this era of basketball, and I think they've done a good job. I have been watching the new season. I think I've seen up to season or episode 5. I think I missed the last two just with football starting, but I've liked it. I mean, I'm kind of bummed to see it go just because that's one of those few shows I keep up with weekly or try to. So I'm kind of bummed to hear the news, but probably not gonna lose sleep over it either.
I just think there's some show. I mean, it's different, I guess, than being a network show than streaming. But how can that get canceled? And there's some shows that are just terrible. Netflix, for example, we've talked about this. They're quantity over quality for sure. But it's just I know this is probably a bigger budget too, so I guess that has to factor into it. But it just blows my mind how some shows still stay on the air and this gets canned. But I don't know.
Did it have anything to do with the writers' disagreements and strikes that were happening?
It could. I honestly didn't do too much research, so I could be exposing myself here, but I honestly don't think it really did. I heard the ratings weren't super great in terms of just viewers and everything compared to first season, because obviously it had to do pretty well to get a second season, which we love. We were big fans of it, but that could definitely play into it. So if that's the case, then that kind of makes sense. But I don't know.
But yeah, I think you guys said it's season 1. I feel like everybody watched, especially sports fans. Season 2, I think you two might be the only one that I've heard of watching.
Oh, dude, I literally just said that. I think when you stepped away, Ryan, every one of my friends watched season 1, and I don't know a single person besides me that's watched season 2.
Yeah, no. And I have no idea why. I haven't started either, and I don't know why. I just haven't got around to it, I guess. But
I think too, Ryan mentioned it. Season 1, it was kind of everywhere. It was on Twitter, all the trailers. It was oh, dude, this looks so sick. The trailers looked awesome. I think you mentioned too, JD, the casting. There's some bigger names. Season 2, it was just hey, Winning Time's out again. There was nothing. It was maybe one tweet about it. It was Winning Time season 2. No, nobody talked about it. Honestly, though, you know what that might be because of the strike. I think people aren't supposed to promote projects.
I think so, yeah.
That's you guys saw the thing with Selena Gomez. She kind of didn't get in trouble, but I think she posted something on Instagram about
backlash.
The only murders in the building or whatever coming back out, and she had to delete it because you're not supposed to promote stuff that's on streaming. So honestly, maybe it has to do with that, which if so, they kind of got screwed because on the timing of it, because it is a good show. But
yeah, I saw some clips and it looked it seems like Pat Riley, or I forget the guy's name that plays him in it, but takes over at some point, and there were some clips with him. He seemed like he killed it
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just like if because it just having that first season to go off of, like if there is no promotion and everything to like either remind or just like get the word out if somehow someone missed it the first time around. But without that and only one season, I guess it is kind of tough to like still have that like loyalty or whatever you want to call it. Like if there is no promotion allowed, it'd be different if there was like if this happened with like Game of Thrones, for example, going on, like that I don't think would have a hit at all, really. But yeah, I guess it's just kind of tough like timing for it because they did nail the casting, like you guys said.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sucks that it's like wasted in a way, but
Yeah, like if it's House of the Dragon or something, like I just know even if they're not supposed to promote it as like actors or whatever, everybody you know is probably promoting it somewhat.
yeah.
Snapchat stories, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, some things that you like can't let fail, basically.
Right. Well, maybe we will get back on winning time after the with the writing strike. Maybe shows will be kind of log jammed here. We could also talk about that another time, like just the whole writer strike. It's pretty nuts. Like it's gone on this long and like the impact it's gonna have, but we could always table that discussion. I also don't know that much about it, but
Yeah. I obviously don't either. But I was gonna say, though, that and or like shows that kind of got like a second life. Like one, I mean, this is probably one of the more common ones, I guess, but like Freaks and Geeks, when that came out, I don't remember what year that came out, but that got canceled like way too early. A lot of people say, like, I watched it, came on Netflix, and it was awesome. And it was like all
cast too.
yeah, it was like all like right before their like primes and everything. Maybe not right before the primes, but like before they like just absolutely went nuclear.
a lot of that like
But
babies.
yeah, who knows? I mean, this could be like one of those.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, you never know.
Right.
Maybe it'll be kind of like how COVID slowed down all the movie production. Then like last year we kind of saw some, and this year I feel like there's a flood of good movies. Maybe in like 2 years it'll be a bunch of good TV shows coming out.
Yeah, I'd love that.
I'd love a pause of Netflix's writing and they actually like sit down, take this time to write good content. Be kind of nice.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Oh, I was gonna say like this is. I don't know if the writer strike influences Stranger Things at all, but that's one that's like somehow I swear it's been going on for like 10 years at least.
People
maybe
like,
not, but it feels like it. It's like that somehow that show is just gonna like keep going forever. Seems like,
dude, it's I don't know how you guys feel about that show. I hate it. I haven't even seen it like past season 2, but or 3 or something, but I just can't imagine like actually liking that show. And
yeah, I mean, like
people are like passionate about it.
No, it's. I mean, I don't know.
Wearing, like shirts and stuff. I see people wearing shirts of like Stranger Things. I was like,
yeah, I don't know the rankings of it or anything, but it's. I mean, I could have a super hot take here, I guess, but like I feel like it's in like the top 10, maybe most watched ever.
I would agree. It probably is
on Netflix, probably.
Oh, definitely. I think that's like Netflix number.
Netflix is probably number 1. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think like it's just it went nuts and like somehow it's just still sticking around. Like the kids are like damn near older than us now, and they're still playing 16-year-olds. So it's like
my biggest problem with the last season, I think was season 4, is every episode was like 90 minutes to 2 hours. So like you're literally watching like mini movies and you have to watch like 10 of them.
Yeah. Like definitely just got out of control. That's one. Yeah, I don't know. That's like one that I don't think even if that was coming out right now, like they would let it go by the wayside. But it does have like such a following that I don't think the strike or anything would affect it too much.
And part of it, I feel like Netflix, when you go to their page, they promote their shit way more than like when you go to Max, like it'll be like just added or like HBO specials or Max specials, but then like you just kind of keep scrolling. I mean, I don't know. Most of the time I go to Max, I have something in mind or I'm like looking for like a specific type of movie, I feel like. And when I go to Netflix, I might just kind of be browsing and it's always their stuff at the front.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a very good point.
If you go to the Netflix blockbuster section, literally every other movie is a Netflix movie, and I'm like, these are not
Yeah,
blockbusters.
that are like critically acclaimed films too. It's
Yeah.
like half of them are Netflix, like bull fucking shit. There's no way.
It's like Me Time with Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Hart. I'm like,
Yeah,
this was a blockbuster.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, so
and Mark
I don't know.
Wahlberg.
I mean, figured it'd be only right to pay homage to something we started with, back when we started this. But who knows? Maybe it'll get a revival. I guess we'll see after everything dies down. But yeah, something else that we have started with is, of course, if you've been listening, is obviously we review a movie every week, but we also listen to year of Billboard top hits, top 100. We last spoke when we last spoke, we were going to listen to 2001. So that's what we were listening to. So I think we all picked a favorite. JD, I think we'll start with you since you picked a movie this week as well. If you want to say what your favorite from 2001 is.
Yeah, it's kind of a wild card. I don't know what made me choose this song, but it's Survivor by Destiny's Child.
Okay.
Uh, it's probably not my actual favorite on this playlist, but like I don't know why. When I heard it the first time on the playlist, listened through, I played it again, and I looked at like three of my older playlists from like middle school and high school, and it was on like all of them. And I was just like, okay. So I feel like I had to choose it.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's good.
Very interesting.
I think I'm next for movie, so I guess I'll go next here. I will say I think this is like there's some songs like for sure like better of my favorites with the other years, but this was like my hardest deliberation for me because there's like a lot that were just like at the top there, and there's definitely bands that had songs on this list that I like more than the favorite song I chose. But this is kind of like a wild one too, like yours, JD, where it's just like anytime I hear it, I'm just like I never skip it. Like I'm a big fan of it. And that's I'm Like a Bird by Nelly Furtado. You guys are familiar. But yeah,
Nice.
love that one.
Nice.
What about you, Tommy?
Yeah, I am not going either of those that you guys picked.
I wasn't worried about a duplicate here.
Yeah.
No, I thought maybe Ryan would take the one I picked, but I agree. I think this was honestly like a loaded year. Pretty hard to narrow it down to one. I'll go with my runner up first because it just narrowly lost. It is Hanging by a Moment by Lifehouse.
That was up there.
It's another one. I could never skip it. It's so good. But my number one is Drops of Jupiter by Train. That's just one of those two. It's like every time I hear it, it just reminds me how good it is, and I really enjoy it. So
yeah, that's a great song.
Great year across the board though. I feel like it's gonna stay. They're gonna stay good here for the next 20 or so years.
Yeah. I mean those were those were up there for me. If You're Gone by Matchbox 20, which I think they'll for sure pop up here on my favorites in the next year or two.
If You're Gone with the runner
up by Uncle Cracker. I love that song too. Which I mean, he's probably just doing like fairs and everything now, if that, but I think that was a great song.
State fairs are big deals though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they are.
It's great.
If you can get a gig, you got to take it, I guess, anywhere you can.
Oh yeah. I saw Nelly at a free food festival, Taste of Chicago. So. Oh hey, they got a Nelly concert.
So. I guess he is I mean, that's kind of tough for Nelly actually, but I mean, hopefully he got paid at least.
I hope so. Stepped on My J is slapped all the same, so it was
oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that's 2001. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's gotten consistently better here. So looking forward to 2002, which we'll listen to next week. So feel free to listen along with us. Let us know what your favorites are in the comments. But yeah, we'll be talking about that next week, along with a movie that's TBD because we just watched Invincible that JD picked. So we'll be talking about that. But JD, feel free to give a synopsis for anyone that hasn't heard or seen this one.
Yeah, so it's based on the story of Vince Papale, a 30-year-old bartender from South Philadelphia who overcame long odds to play in the NFL's Philadelphia Eagles in 1976. I guess I can start us off. So I had never seen this. That's why I chose it. I feel like it's like, I think I said classic on the last one, which you could maybe argue. I just feel like everyone saw it growing up, or I've seen it at some point, especially like sports fans. And I never have. So I felt with football starting, it was a good time to watch it. This movie, more or less, is exactly what I thought it would be. And there's times I thought it was incredibly stupid, and times I thought it was incredibly funny for the wrong reasons. But like overall, good story and a true story. So I gave it a flat 7
Okay.
or 70. Sorry.
70? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I'll go next since I'm next in the queue, I guess. Same thing. I mean, yeah, pretty much same sentiment there. It's been a while since I have seen. I mean, I have seen this a few times before, but it's one of those that like I do enjoy watching, but there is just some things I like either forgot about or just didn't realize the first couple watches I've had of this, where it's just like, what are we doing here? But regardless, it is entertaining. Like I will say that, but when I'm thinking about where I lump these, or lump this in with other sports movies, like I mean, I have to go back and look at some of the other ones I have, but it's just like not really up there for me with the other sport ones. So I actually have this at a flat 60. But which is a lower score, but I still like enjoyed the watch. But again,
Space Jam: A New Legacy above it.
No, that's really not. I think that might be in the single digit. No, not quite single digit, but it's lower. But yeah, I mean, still enjoyed it. But yeah, we'll get into like it just the funny parts. Like I don't think they were intending to be funny, like you said, JD. So we'll see how that goes. But Tom, what did you think of it?
Yeah, pretty similar to you guys. I've seen this movie a few times, but not since like probably like 5th grade. Like I had it on DVD, kind of similar to you, JD. I thought it was gonna be like awesome, but as a kid, I found it disappointing. But I think that's because like when you're a kid, you have a bigger imagination. You don't realize how like I think as a kid, I expected him to be like a star player and not like a special teams guy. But like as an adult, I think you can appreciate it more because you're just like, no, this would never happen. The fact that it's true makes me not believe it. So
the whole time I watched it, I was like, no way, this is real.
No, it's not real. I refuse to believe it's real. Yeah, no, we'll get into it more, but I'm pretty much right where JD is. It's definitely not a bad movie, but it's not as kind of like Ryan said, it's definitely not as compelling as a lot of sports movies. So I give it a 72. So pretty much right there with you, JD.
Yeah.
It's solid, but it's nothing to like write home about. So
yeah, I mean, I will say, like, I agree 100% where like it somehow is true to some extent. Obviously, they embellish some things, but just like this is honestly, and I don't know how recent you guys have played the 2K the NBA 2K games, but I think I stopped playing it probably with like 2018 maybe. And the my player storylines of that got so outrageous. I think the last one I played was like you were a DJ or something and then somehow get picked up by a team. Like that's what this felt like to me a little bit. Like you're literally a bartender and you just like, hey, we're hosting open tryouts. Come on down. And you just are fucking on the team. Like, but it did like in a way happen with it was in 1976. So obviously like the times are different. This would never happen now. But it just like I couldn't get that out of my head when I was watching it this time around. Because last time I saw this was well before 2018. So like I wasn't in that frame of mind, but I just could not get that out of my head. And it just like was it just was cracking me up the whole time.
That's exactly what I was kind of thinking. Like, one, this would never, ever, 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 ever happen today. Like, there's just too many good athletes out there. Like, the concept of the open tryouts, super stupid. Like, he knows it. Like, the coach, and Dick Vermeil's like a real coach, like a good coach. Like,
Yeah.
So I get that, and like the fact that this is real, like this makes me want to talk about it in the context of like Home Team, which is one of the first movies we ever talked about. But that wasn't real. I think it was maybe loosely based on it. This was actually real. So
Yeah.
a couple things I thought about a lot were that he didn't really play much high school football. I think he said he played a year. He didn't play in college. He somehow runs a 4.5. But
Yeah.
before that, making the team is just the insane part. Like, he brings nothing to the table except that he's fast.
He's got heart.
Right. You
Nobody can build a team around.
Apparently. But the thing I kept thinking about was like his main experience was playing like backyard football, like with his buddies. The game that they showed, like the original game, his team, which he is on, an NFL player, apparently, the first game, they were actually about to lose until a guy was about to return a pick six until this NFL player like tossed him over the hood of a car. Game saving tackle. Like, dude, if any of us, like, I'm not saying we're not like bad athletes, like we're definitely, I would say above that, like at least worst above average to above it. We're better than like Maxey and his boys. Like, even the 53rd man on like the worst team in the NFL, like, showed up and played backyard football with us, they'd probably break all of our bones. And, like, just by 100.
The worst team on a D1 Power 5 team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably the best player on like a high school team would probably beat us. Maybe not that extreme, but like college for sure.
Depends on the high school.
If he's on an NFL team, he's playing backyard football, and they're not like demolishing guys. They're barely winning.
Yeah.
That was one of my main things, is just like, how? I get they wanted him to try out. How does he make, like,
I don't even understand, like, how, like, if I'm his friends, I'm actually not letting, like, he's trying out for the Eagles and it's like raining and muddy and like, yeah, man, come play with us.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what? You're like in the third round of tryouts. Like, don't get hurt.
Mhm.
We could really use you, Vince. I know the team's counting on you, but your friends would need you right now. It's like,
He's actually on the team at that point. He had like a game in like 3
yeah,
days.
I got a game on Sunday, dude. He's like,
Yeah, I got a game this weekend.
all right. I mean,
That was
we could
that-
use you, but whatever.
That was that Johnny guy. It was like a total.
Yeah.
And then
He's
then-
such
Dude, the whole movie.
it's such a buzzkill too.
oh, yeah.
I also don't get like who's the ref in that backyard league? Like he just go out there for fun.
No, they had a couple refs, I think.
He also like
Yeah.
bullied him, like, and like fought him basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, where was he with I mean, unless he did step in when the hood of the car situation happened, but I don't think he did that I remember. So
They hit the car again.
yeah, so it's like what like authority do you have here, buddy?
Yeah, like you call them holdings. Like what are we doing here?
Like, I don't know. I mean, if they're playing in the back alley when it's pouring rain, like I don't think they're really trying to regulate the game much, but they still got two refs out there. But
One end zone's like a fence, the other is like a car.
yeah.
I mean, the first play they showed, the guy like openly clotheslined him, and it looked like a punch in the face.
Yeah.
The ref did nothing. So I mean,
Also, I don't know if you guys felt like this. Like as soon as Vince showed up to the very first like backyard game, they're like, "How about we do the play where Vince just runs past everyone, gets tackled after like 10 yards?"
Right.
All
Yeah.
the highlights he showed, he like wasn't even doing anything.
right. That's the other thing. How would they ever tackle him?
No.
Like, he's got a 4-5. He's playing like the other bar.
Yeah. There's no
Far
shot.
down the street.
It made
Also, in the raining one, the douche friend, like, he throws it to him on the like end around pass, Antoine Randall-esque, but there weren't ever any lines or cones or anything. It didn't look like he was in an end zone. He just
like the 30 and he just fell down and like started crying. He was enjoying.
The best day of the
Close enough.
Yeah.
yeah, that whole Like I feel like they should have and could have taken this a different direction. I mean, absolutely, and made it like a little better. But I think maybe just because it is, I'm pretty sure it's a Disney movie, so
Yeah.
that probably plays into it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was so corny, and I can do corny and cheesy, but like if it's like ends up being endearing, but it just wasn't. It just didn't do it for me in that part of it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And then like there's just like the corny and cheesy. Oh, I don't even know if this is corny and cheesy, but the one time he like runs, he's like super sweaty. Then he just like gets home, he's like, I'm gonna run again. Just runs for like another few more hours. Like it was daytime, then it wasn't. And then like also the sweat didn't move on his shirt at all. I'm like, dude just ran like 12 miles, has like one circle on his chest. I'm like,
I was gonna
Yeah,
say like in this era of like movies, like just the workout regimens are literally only one thing, just running
right.
outside.
yeah,
Like Rocky came out in like the 70s or like was based in the 70s. All he do was just run outside, like no weights, like he literally didn't work out at all. It looked like played
no.
football once a week, and then he was
And he's
on.
at the bar every other night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just on an NFL team. He
Yeah.
went for one like distance jog, and he was like going to training camp.
Yeah.
I don't get this is actually like my biggest pet peeve. Like he's a wide receiver and a special teams guy. Like, why did he have to do like just a blocking drill?
Oh, I never understood that.
The other guy, and they were wearing different colored jerseys, so I assume the other guy was a defensive player. The defensive lineman was like blocking him.
Yeah.
And like obviously like buried him the first time. The coach is like, you need to show me more than that, 83.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the professional nose tackle versus the bartender down the street. He's like, hey, try harder.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many things like that where I'm like, this makes zero sense. Like
What's
why?
actually wild is I looked it up after he did run a 4.5 and they offered him a contract that day. Like they didn't actually go through all the tryouts and everything. They're just like, you're on the team, man.
Jesus, so that's even more unbelievable that way. I'm
Dude,
surprised they
I
didn't
know,
throw that in there.
I know. John Ross would have been the greatest player ever.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, that's yeah, that's the thing is like the real story actually like usually the movie embellishes it and it's like the guy played like half a quarter like ever. But like looking him up, he actually played like 3 years for the Eagles. Like that's sometimes like
Yeah.
high draft picks don't play three years. Like
No.
super impressive, but like they just made this. I agree with what you said, Ryan. I feel like they could have made this more compelling. Like I feel like they could have showed maybe not as much of like I don't know, maybe more of like his actual career or like I don't know, maybe
Less focus on the backyard
like
game, I would
So-
say.
like because they also played on the angle of like Philly going through like a tough time. Like it looked like it was like a tough time in like the economy and stuff. Like
Mhm.
maybe how he kind of used his like being on the Eagles to like help his friends in the neighborhood and stuff. Like after the fact, but they just didn't do that.
Yeah, I think they could have went two ways. Either showed way more of like the actual football stuff because like they were kind of split between like the outside of football and inside of football. But like so they could have went like the ballers route where they like rarely ever show the or even winning time. Like they rarely ever show the games. And when they do, it's like two highlights and it's like, yeah, we lost. Or they could have been like all drama the whole time, or all like a lot of sports the whole time with like a little bit of drama. And they just did not. Like kind of just split it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. I mean, I think that kind of just goes back to the Disney aspect of it in my head, where it's just like they had to make it because it did seem kind of like more for kids, I would say, in a way, like inspiring kids or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of would like to see it taken like a more serious, like gritty angle, maybe. And like with that direction of it, but also, I mean, there's so many qualms I have with just what they say about him from like a media perspective and everything. So like we talked about this when we were watching it, but they say on a radio station, like I mean, special teams, of course, are important to the game. Like every facet of the game, you need all of it to cook to do well in the sport and just like any sports. But if we're talking about the Eagles losing their first game, like, bringing a new like fancy coach or whatever, and they blow it, which he did take over like a terrible team. So like, not really expected to do too much, but like I get like, it's Philly, they're hard on them and everything. Like they're gonna be pissed. I don't think one of the first things that the media heads are going to be talking about is how a local guy bartender that just somehow made the team was one of the biggest busts of the team, and I don't know how that would even get on the airwaves. Like it makes no sense to me. Like there's no way that happened in real life, which I just don't know why they would even like think that that would be talked about at all. But like he's not, he's a 30-year-old bartender. Like who has expectations here that he was gonna make any impact whatsoever? Like he's on special teams. Not to diminish special teams, but it's like, he's not the quarterback or something like that.
Yeah, I would have never thought he would even see the field. And then after the first game, like when he froze up or whatever, you can hear a player walk by like his locker, like talking to another player. He's like, "Yeah, he froze up." I'm like, dude, that was one kickoff. You guys got smoked. I don't think anyone's talking about that afterwards.
Well, that, and even Vermeil or whatever, he's like, sorry, coach. Like, well, one, I don't think he would just go up to coach. Like, this isn't high school. Like, just going up to coach. My bad on that. Like, I don't see players talk to coaches in the NFL, like during the game at least. But there's no way your coach like, sorry. Like he got to like the 50-yard. It's not like he housed the he housed the kickoff and he's like, I stuck my neck up, or you like, it was like, what are we talking? Like, it's not like he just ruined the whole game for you.
No. And I'm pretty sure that was the only kickoff because I'm pretty sure they didn't score.
Yeah. It's one thing, got to the 50, and yeah, it's Vince's fault that you lost the game.
That's so true. Like they also didn't even say the quarterback's name once. Like
No.
they didn't mention anybody else on the team. Like I agree with that. The other part I absolutely hated was when his like roommate showed him the thing with like the knuckles.
Yeah, it's like, a cheat code.
Literally, dude. Like, how would not every lineman know that and then therefore get a sack every play? Because like right after that literally changed his life basically. Like he did like basically the mini mean and nasty drill, and he like smashed the running back in the backfield like twice after that. And he also used it to somehow he has the authority to just call audibles.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna say
biggest play of the game. He's like changing the protection. They're like, oh yeah, good call, Vince. It's week 2.
We're gonna listen to him.
He's never played like organized football, and it's week 2, and he just gets like a free release, decks the guy, picks it up, he gets a walk-off touchdown. Like that was the part I hated for sure.
That's what I think about the audible, because isn't like I'm pretty sure he runs a 4.5. He's on special teams to get down there as fast as possible, I would assume. And like he calls the audible and he just like doesn't get touched, hits the guy, picks up the fumble, and no one's within like 30 yards of him. So I mean, you telling me he just changed like the whole game?
Literally.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much. There's so many things, and it's fun. Like it is funny, but they're just not meant to be funny. When it's after he gets, just destroyed by the Cowboys when his coach reams him out. He goes and sits on the bench, and that one bench warmer's like, God, just disgusted with him. Walks away, just to let him like just be miserable by himself. But just so many small things. Also, like, I don't think it's even the most outrageous thing in the movie, but when he is, driving, and then the kid like comes in front of the car, the ball, and the kid's got duct tape 83 on the back. Like, I mean, I still don't think that would have happened either.
I don't think so either.
Like, I don't think he's like, oh man, that special teams gunner. I'm gonna be just like him. Like, I just even if he does have a nice story of like joining the team, 10 years too late. I still think they're probably going to idolize like the quarterback or, a skill position player. But yeah, just some wild things they just throw in here.
I think Tom also brought this up, but like off the air at least maybe. But like after they lose to the Cowboys, like GM comes up, is like, it's not what I expected out of you. I also looked it up. They first off, they played in Dallas. Second off, the Cowboys went to the Super Bowl that year. They won 3 games the year before. I don't think the betting odds were in their favor, like even close.
Right. No. Yeah, they no, that's like that was the funny thing, because like same thing, like he makes it through training camp. and like the Eagles lose their first game, and then like preseason, and they had 6
Yeah.
preseason games. Like you said, JD, the owner like comes down to the locker room, like basically in front of the whole team, but he's like talking to the coach, but the other players like literally 3 feet away, and he's like 0-7 or whatever. It's not what I expect. It's like, no, it's 0-1. Preseason doesn't count.
Right.
But yeah, same thing. They literally announced the Cowboys. They're like, you're reigning NFC champions, and it's like Roger Staubach,
Yeah.
Staubach, like, yeah, there's just no way that they're like, we're gonna upset the Cowboys on the road, and it's all the fault of our like kickoff guy.
Yeah.
Getting
Dude,
pancaked.
they named more Cowboys players than they did Eagles just in one scene.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
They did not name like a single Eagles player.
No. Besides Samson.
Yeah. But did
That's
he
the
get
best
cut
cut.
or what?
Yeah.
Like, because they never really said. They like, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm taking Samson 10 times out of 10
Oh
over
yeah.
Pollard.
Well, the coach's wife said, that's a player you can build a team around.
Yeah, yeah. That's another thing which we talked about. Like, who the fuck? There's no way that was said. I don't care if they offered him a contract
Here.
on the spot. Like, there's no chance you're. I mean, he could be the nicest guy ever, best leader. Like, he's still at the end of the day just a special teams player
Dude,
only.
even if he's like an insane talent, he is 30. He's got
Yeah.
maybe 3 years left.
Yeah.
You're not picking pieces to like a center around him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he's not going to be the cornerstone of the franchise, but yeah, I don't know. There was just so much that, and one thing I did kind of like when they were in the real games and even like in some of the practice, not really the backyard football at all, but the football scenes were like pretty good for a 2006 movie. I mean, I feel like they were pretty decent, but
Mhm.
it is kind of weird. Like when they're in the games, it looked like way more recent than the 70s, where like practice looked like kind of stuck with the times, but then when they jumped to the games, it was just like way like elevated, which not like a huge thing or anything, but just wasn't really consistent at all. But I did actually appreciate those scenes because I mean there's some sports movies that it's just like it's tough to even buy in with how bad it looks from that perspective. But I mean I thought that was like decent.
Yeah, that is true. I kind of like the opening scene with like the snow. It almost kind of looked like Disney-ish of an animation almost, where like it
Mhm.
showed like the snow and then the top of the stadium and them losing. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I agree. I thought the game actually, like especially the game against the Giants, like kind of felt like you were
Yeah.
on the sideline. I thought that was pretty cool. And then it felt like you were in the stands with his friends. Like I did think that was pretty cool. Um, yeah, I think they did some good job with that. There wasn't much actual like football, which I think it's very similar to how I felt about Rudy. Like when I was a kid and I saw the movie Rudy, I was like, this is so boring because like he isn't the star player. But then as an adult, I was able to appreciate it because I'm like, there's no way Rudy should ever be even like near this field. And like
Yeah.
like he overcame all these odds and like played like, I get it. Like I think to me this shows how far the NFL's come. Where like, back in like the 40s and stuff in baseball, it was like the guy worked, your like starting pitcher worked like a 9 to 5, and then like, or he worked in like the factory and then came to the game and threw out like 8 scoreless innings. And, like NFL, I feel like at this era was almost more like that. Like it's kind of the infancies of like the NFL days because it's like literally you picked up a bartender and like he actually like contributes, which I know there are some stories like nowadays where it's like, oh yeah, they picked up this like 30-year-old punter, but it's like he at least played like soccer or something or whatever. It's not like a guy that's like actually like I'm not gonna say that punters aren't football players, but like a guy that's actually like playing like special
Yeah. And he only played 1 year of high school football too. Like it's not like he, went to even like a smaller college or anything and like got injured and then like just like, came back. Like he just didn't he had just if he was applying to just a regular job, like his resume would not be I mean, they wouldn't look twice at it. They just throw it out basically.
Right.
So yeah, there's just like so many things. But again, it's a smart, it's a way earlier time and everything. And I also kept thinking about during this that I mean, this is kind of off topic, but you know, people say like, "Oh, LeBron, MJ, who's better?" and everything, and like a big, uh, a big argument for saying that LeBron's better is like, oh, MJ played with like plumbers and shit like that. Which, like, I mean, fuck. When you look at this, like, obviously it's a different sport, but like, it was just such a different time where like somehow this could happen. Again, he's not like starting or anything like that, but still, I mean, it is different. And to your point, Tom, like how like just insane athletes have advanced. It's ridiculous to see how far it's come. Like you guys said, the fifth option on a Division II team or whatever, like could just wax any average Joe in basically any athletic competition.
Mhm.
So what I don't get is, I think this actually might be the craziest part. Is like, all right, I get it. Maybe he gets like a 10-day contract or something. He played for 3 years. Like you couldn't find one guy that's better.
Right.
like some rookie or something. But I want to know, because back then I've been looking up their stats, and like in '76 they went 4-10 and they were fourth out of fifth in their division. I want to know who was fifth.
Right. That they had to be terrible. I bet they weren't employing a bartender.
Yeah, Vince's last year was the first year of 16 games. They actually lost in the wild card, 9-7. So they actually,
yeah. I'm looking at Dick Vermeil's like coaching record.
They went to the Super Bowl 2 years after Vince left. Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah.
They didn't win though, right?
They
No,
won
they
it.
lost.
He won it with the Rams though in '99.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang, he had his last year of coaching in 1982 with the Eagles. He came back to the Rams in '97. That's like pretty good gap where he just wasn't coaching. I mean, that's like you don't really see that much.
No. It's been a while.
Break like that.
I feel like you definitely wouldn't see it now. Like if someone left for 10 years, 15 years, they're not just like, yeah, I'll come back.
Right. I'm looking at his like Wikipedia and it says it says he I guess it makes sense. He said he spent time worked as an announcer for CBS and ABC, which I feel like is almost kind of like John Gruden or something, where he took a decent break where like he did Monday Night Football for quite a while, probably like 8 to 10 years, and then he came back. But I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. But
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think so.
it's just kind of caught my eye. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. I mean, definitely off. I mean, it's in the movie, but off topic from what we were just talking about. How about his ex-wife? I mean, just buries him with that note.
Oh, dude, that was brutal.
No one was just like, I'm surprised they let that in the Disney movie. Like that was tough.
Well, dude, then the buddy kept saying basically the same things, like, you're nothing. You're always going to be nothing. Like,
yeah. Also, his dad was kind of a prick too, until like he the team, of course, and like now his dad's like beloved in the bar and everything. But then he's like, yeah, once he got some clout from that, he's like, all right, I guess I can acknowledge you as my son at that point.
Right. One of the lines I was like kind of chuckling at was like, so Vince's friend was the bartender. He like worked with him, right? And then his dad goes in the bar. And apparently, like they act like they don't see each other that much, but they're like regulars at the same bar.
Yeah.
Like, the bartender's like, "That's your boy, Kingy."
Yeah.
I was just like picturing like me talking to one of your guys' dad. That's your boy.
Yeah.
The bartender that was one of my favorite characters.
Like, he actually probably was the best one.
Yeah, of his friends. I mean, his friends were kind of bozos. Like that's the thing. Like this movie kind of reminded me of like a neighborhood similar to like Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting.
Oh yeah.
But his friends are like kind of dorks. Like that Johnny guy sucked. Like all the other ones were like not very memorable.
I didn't hate the guy that like came to give him a jump even though he didn't get it.
Yeah, I liked him.
Like, he was fine. I mean, he was level-headed at least. Like he understood what was going on and wouldn't be offended at all if he didn't play a couple snaps with them when he has an actual NFL game on Sunday. But
I'm sure that guy is in Ballers too.
Oh, really?
He's one of the agents, or
I think so. I recognize him from something.
His name was Tommy, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, might be.
I don't see anything from Ballers.
On here yeah. Another thing I was gonna say, I think you guys both kind of talked about it. Like JD, you were talking about like being a Disney movie, and like Ryan, you're saying being a little like, I don't know, like more grungy, I guess. But kind of weird thing is like this movie's rated PG. Like
Yeah.
a lot of scenes, I feel like. I mean, I guess I don't really watch that many PG movies, so I don't really know what qualifies. But like, I think there are enough like scenes to be like PG-13. I mean, they hang out in a bar.
Really?
Like,
Well,
what?
I was
I
thinking
was
the
thinking
bar.
maybe it could go to G. Like, I didn't think,
I don't
think it
know. I
was
mean,
that bad.
I feel like they were. I don't know. I guess not.
Besides the coach snapping at him, like
I
I
guess
feel
there
like it was
wasn't
pretty
really
tame.
like cursing in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I'm trying to think. I don't really remember if there was.
No, I feel like there wasn't. Like, no, I
I,
think
I
it was.
I honestly think PG's like perfect for it. I would be a little surprised if it was PG-13 in some aspect, just because I don't know. Yeah, it is very safe. It's a very safe movie, as like in terms of audience, I would say for sure.
I think that's part of its detraction a little bit too. Like, there's not as
Yeah,
much meat on the bones because it does play pretty safe. Like, even when he's getting like trash talk, they're just like old man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what's like
yeah.
offending. Like, I mean,
Right.
it's been a fight after they found his letter, but
Yeah.
his ex-wife's letter.
Also loved the changing of the shoulder pads to the QB pads and everything, and that how I mean I guess it does make you move faster
Mhm.
slightly, but like I just thought that was funny.
Dude dropped like 2 tenths on the 40 time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, the more we talk about this movie, the more I don't really like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's just like I don't
It's a
know.
lot when we talk about movies, though.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I mean
just a classic feel good. Like the plot's just
Yeah.
another thing I was thinking about, and I realized while I was watching this movie, I was just thinking about other movies way more than actually like trying to pay attention to this. But yeah, I kept thinking of, I think one it's pretty comparable to in terms of like just premise is the Replacements. I think it is with
yeah,
Mhm.
what's his name, Keanu
Same
Reeves.
yeah.
And that one like still kind of like it is like replacement guys, right? Like they're taking over. I think it was like the strike or whatever, but um you know I still think it was the true story in at least some capacity. Maybe I could be very wrong on that, but it's like far-fetched or whatever, but I think that one's like very endearing and like just funny when it is actually trying to be funny.
Mhm.
Like I like that one so much more than this, even though they're like pretty similar, but it took a different approach, and it's like it did go for more of a, I guess, non-kid friendly audience for sure. But like you know I mean, of course there's other sports movies that are like even more than that one too, but just to give that comparison, it's like night and day from what I would rather watch between those two.
I agree with that too. Well, I mean, the replacements, I mean, I don't know how real the actual real story is, but it just feels like the way they talk and act just feels like how actual grown football players would act.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Replacements, like, even it's an interesting comparison because, like, it is to me so much better of a watch. And, like, honestly, in the Replacements, like, I think they just come on for like the last like 4 games of the season. I feel like it's the perfect balance of like actual football and then like just other random shit. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's because it's like 50-50, but like both parts are good. And like the non-football plays into the football plays into the non-football. So it's like, yeah, it's actually a much better movie. I'm not saying The Replacement is like the best movie of all time either, but
Yeah,
it's really better than this one, I think.
for sure.
Rated worse on IMDb.
Oh, is
Yeah,
it?
which is
It doesn't shock me, I guess.
Blows my mind, actually.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. That is kind of concerning too. That's what, yeah, I just don't understand that because it just like I enjoy that movie so much more. So
Yeah.
to each their own, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like I don't know. This movie, I think I'm even a little like I was the lowest on it. I think I might be even higher than I'd like to be on because it kind of like honestly just made me mad more that I think about it than actually enjoy it. I mean, I still, I don't regret watching it for the third time, but you know, it's just not that great.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like is like, I mean, the whole story sounds ridiculous. Apparently, it's true, but everything that had to do with football in the actual storyline was just absurd. Like, almost nothing was like how it actually happened.
Yeah. But
Like,
even in now that you're talking about kind of the dialogue, even that it's just so like corny and like slapstick. I don't know what you want to call it exactly, I guess, but it feels so forced and not, you know, authentic, genuine, however you want to, you know, frame it. It just I don't know. I think it misses the mark there too.
yeah, I think that's part of the PG aspect. Now that we talk about it a little bit, like, I mean, Disney did
Yeah.
a Titans. Like, they can clearly do a football movie, but this just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I think they should have played into how wild it was that a bartender made to eat. Like they just once he was on the team, there's like, yeah, Vince is on the Eagles now. Like, it's like, dude, this guy was like, no offense to him, but he was an unemployed like bartender like a week before, and then he's like on the Eagles, and they're just like,
I would actually like to see like a remake, but like a PG-13 or maybe even rated R version.
Yeah. Just something like I would just for an approach like this for something crazy, like I just think it would be better to go with more of that version. But
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I forgot about Remember the Titans being Disney because I love that movie and I think that
It's a lot of
is
fun.
super corny in ways too, but I just
Yeah.
think it works better. I think Denzel
Still
like
great.
really carries that one, but still, it's just like I don't know, just you just feel better watching that one. I don't
Mhm.
know how to describe it.
Yeah, no, I love Remember the Titans. That's maybe one of my favorite movies ever. Favorite sports movies for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be is that it for Invincible?
I think that's
I
all I got.
think so. I will say, yeah, I mean, it was good to watch. I'm glad you picked it, Judy, because I mean, it did get me in the football mood, and especially now it's in full force. I think it was for sure, obviously topical watch. But where does that where does that put it on the
Not a
shared
great,
list?
not a great spot. Uh,
Like,
it's ranked 388th, in between Star Wars: The Phantom Menace and A Man Called Otto, which was only rated by me. Um, and yeah, 67.3 was the average rating.
yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's Invincible. If you haven't seen it, I guess we can't really say it's a super great recommendation, but it is a very quick movie. Like it's an easy
Mhm.
watch. So
I think that's my favorite part about movies made before like 2010-ish is they're almost always like an hour 45 max.
yeah,
Agreed.
that's
The
true.
under 2 hour movies to me, like even if they're dragging like story wise, like they're quick. So like
Yeah, I feel like there was a
Yeah.
time, and we're still kind of in it, but I feel like there was a time where anytime I was like gonna watch a movie, like 2011 to like 2017, it's like, all right, dude, I gotta clear like 3 hours of my schedule to watch this thing.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's much more common nowadays. Yeah, there's something to be said about those quick ones. I feel like whenever we watch a movie from like the 90s, they're like hour and a half. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, The Jerk was like an hour and a
That
half.
was super short. Yeah.
So that's probably all they could put on film back then.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good
Tapes in
point.
the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Titanic, I forget when that came out, but it was still relatively early, and that had two VHSs. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think it
okay.
could.
That was
Couldn't
what, late 90s? 97.
Oh damn, that was later than I thought.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot what movie. I used to have one though, but you literally had to like switch it halfway through.
Yeah,
Crazy.
which is insane.
It's crazy. We used to watch VHS. Like I remember as a kid, like just wanted to watch the same movie over and over, and you had to rewind it.
Yeah, like hey, come back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
At least from Blockbuster if you didn't.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I was reading this article in like the early 2000s how everyone was saying like, you know, DVDs are like here to stay, they're gonna be around forever, and like 5 years later they're like obsolete by like Netflix and stuff. Probably more than 5 years, but still like Netflix and all streaming pretty much just ruined DVD players.
Dude, like,
yeah,
like nothing is like safe. Like I remember as a kid getting an iPod, uh,
Oh yeah.
iPod like mini or iPod Nano or something. And I was just like, I'm gonna have this for the rest of my life. Because like
yeah,
all my songs, like I have no reason to ever get rid of this. And like, I don't know, probably 2 years later, it's like everybody's getting an iPod Touch. 2 years later after that, everybody's getting an iPhone. It's like you just never have any like idea how.
Then iTunes is just gone too.
Yeah.
Now you just don't even buy songs anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I remember having to get an iTunes gift cards and like
Yeah.
the sensation of loading that up, like a $15 gift card meant you got 15 songs. Like nothing better than
Awesome.
that was the best. And then it's like,
Yeah.
I don't have to pay for songs anymore. That's really fucking stupid. I mean, I guess you pay for like Spotify, but
Yeah, it's so different now.
Mhm.
But like you said, you used to have to pay $15 for 15 songs. Now you pay whatever $15 at Spotify every month, and you get any song just about ever created.
In real time, yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime at your fingertips.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's wild. Yep.
Yeah. So that's Invincible. I think it's my pick for next week. So I'm gonna go with one that I haven't seen since it came out in 2015. So we're coming back to a little bit more recent. It's on Netflix. I think you guys have both seen it, but it's The Big Short. To give a quick synopsis, it's in 2006 and 2007, a group of investors bet against the United States mortgage market. In the research, they discover how flawed and corrupt the market is. I think that undersells the movie big time, but yeah, it's about the housing market crash around that time. So yeah, I haven't seen it since then, but I mean, I liked it at that point, and it's got pretty good rating. So I guess we'll see if we concur with that. But yeah, we'll be watching that this next week. But yeah, Netflix is what that's on. But you guys have both seen that, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yep, I've seen it, but it's probably been 5-6 years. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I was just thinking about it. We've had kind of two, I don't want to say they were bad movies the last couple of weeks, but it'd be good to get back to like a really strong one. So I'm excited for this one.
I love The Big Short.
Yeah. This is one that I've been wanting and waiting for it to come on any streaming service. Like, of course, you can get anything on Amazon. Rent it for like $4 or whatever. But there's like, I guess the thrill of what used to be like going to Blockbuster, right? Because that was awesome. I mean, I love doing that. But now it's like, man, I really wish this movie would come to streaming, like one of the ones that you pay for in some capacity. And when that does, like, I love that feeling. This was one of them for me. So I was like, might as well make it the one that we watch. So
I get notifications on. That'd be a cool feature. Like you add
that would be cool. Yeah.
I mean, that's a business idea.
How do they not have that actually?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I guess because there's no like main database where everything is. Like, honestly though,
but like you should be able to like on your Netflix account be like, hey, because you can see, this is another thing that Netflix pisses me off about, and it could be others, but it's this is the only one I noticed on. But you can search for a movie and it comes up like in the suggested search, but it's not actually on there.
Right.
Like they know that it's a movie, so I feel like they should be able to do that. Say, hey, when this comes on, if it ever does, send me a push notification.
Should we just like make an app, compile every movie on IMDb, and anytime it gets added to a streaming service, if someone has it on their watch list, push it out like this.
Yeah.
Hulu.
Feel like we do. If anyone's watching it, don't steal that idea.
Right.
Yeah. It's IP right there.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because like IMDb has like, if you search a movie, it usually has like your watch options.
Yeah.
So it's like, almost if you could do something like that where it's like, when put this on my watch list, when this changes, like let me know. Like when it goes from nothing to Hulu, like bump me that it's on Hulu. Like even if I don't have it, like
like set up in your settings like what streaming service you have. So if it pops up on any streaming services, then just
I like that. Yeah, that's a good point.
I love it.
Idea. Call it 10K movies.
Yeah. Well, we can somehow develop that. Be on the lookout. It might be coming to a device near you soon.
Also, if that ever becomes a thing, we could just show this episode and sue whoever.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's also nice.
Yeah. It's like what's his name? From The Jerk, Melvin, or it's not Melvin. With his glasses.
Yeah.
Norvin or something.
It's like Narvin or something. I don't know.
Well, it is like Narvin or something.
Yeah.
It's some name that's not an actual name.
Right.
It's gonna drive me nuts, but
It does start with an N though, I know that.
Yeah. Oh well, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
Was it
David.
Naven? Yeah, some stupid ass name. Yeah. So yeah, be on the look, or if you have Netflix, feel free to watch The Big Short with us. We'll be talking about that as well as 2002. I think Billboard Hits. Besides that, you guys watching anything new? Any new updates with other things that you're keeping up with?
I finished Silicon Valley, which I wish the ending was a little better, but overall I like the show. Forget it's like 6 or 7 seasons, but it's pretty quick watches, all like 25-minute episodes, or give or take.
Yeah, you cooked on that. That was quick.
Yeah, I moved through that pretty quick. Finished it like a week ago too. Um, I want to start Winning Time, and the other thing on my radar is that movie Dumb Money that comes out
Oh,
like next week or 2 weeks from now, about the GameStop stock thing that was big like 2 years
Yep.
ago, last year maybe even a little bit.
hmm
Saw that trailer in theaters.
yeah.
That
It's
actually-
gotten some good buzz, so
Yeah.
it might be a good one.
Definitely.
Mhm. Yeah, I might have to look into that because not a lot of great movies out in theaters right now. I will be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you used your Stubbs movies recently?
I saw one probably 2 weeks ago. I saw Blue Beetle.
Oh, yeah. What'd you think?
It's very very okay. Like there's some parts that are like, all right, I don't dislike that. There's some other parts that are like super corny. It's solid. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but the problem with it, I think, because it's a superhero movie, I also think I'm a little oversaturated or a little fatigued of superhero movies because it's like there's been such a huge influx that it's just like, all right, I've seen so many stories of superheroes and powers and limitations and bad guys. And like honestly, I don't know if you guys are gonna see Blue Beetle, but
I probably won't.
I don't know how you defeat him. He
I'll
basically,
probably see it. I'll probably see it on streaming whenever at some point, but
yeah, it's like I don't know. I think I'm just tired of superhero movies. Like we gotta.
well, like you kind of mentioned, my thing with superhero movies is like I've seen pretty much every origin story possible. Like then like every story kind of ends up the same. Like it's just like, oh no, there's some guy we can't beat. They lose to him in the middle, and then they beat him at the end. Like almost every time.
Yeah,
Punch. And then like
rinse and repeat.
yeah, and some guys have like no weakness. It's like
All right.
Iron Man. He just like downloads a new software that like does everything. It's like
Yeah.
so yeah, I saw that. That was okay. Like I said, that was a couple maybe 2 weeks ago or so. I saw that. Other than that, I was finishing up watching the league, and then I think from there, we're either gonna watch The Bear or something else.
That's also on my radar.
Yeah, and then I think after that, I'm thinking about rewatching Entourage because it's been a little while, and it's a great show and a great watch. So, what about you, Ryan? What have you been watching?
I don't really have a regular. I am watching Ahsoka, that Star Wars one, but it comes out. I mean, it actually just came out 30 minutes ago, but it's just like a weekly release, so can't really binge it. I'm not binging anything. Also watching regular TV, Big Brother. I mean, I don't think you guys watch that. That's something picked up a couple years ago. It's like it's entertaining, and like it's one that you really just don't have to think about, so it's nice. But Survivor is also coming up in a couple weeks too, so I'll be watching that. But besides that, just football, which I think we're all actually watching. So that's taking most of my time. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
So.
taking some time up.
Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. This is the best time of year. So yeah, we'll keep mixing the movies in here. Obviously, we're not watching football, but I think that does it for today. Ironically, still watch a football movie. But next week it'll be The Big Short, which is not even close to a sports movie. So get a nice I guess change of pace there. So watch along with us there, and then 2002 Billboard Hits. Talk about that next week. But yeah, otherwise, I guess we'll see you guys then.
See you guys.
See you next week.